It's a big weekend in just about every sense of the word this weekend in Tuscaloosa. We'll explain.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Thank you so much for making this your first listen. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn, and I'll tell you about LinkedIn in here in just a bit. Jimmy, I mentioned at the very beginning, this is going to be a huge weekend. It is. It's going to be a huge weekend for basketball. Got a baseball game, and we got softball. But we're going to talk football recruiting to start out with, because it's going to be a big weekend when it comes to football recruiting. And we've already had some big names in Tuscaloosa this weekend, but there's some more coming in.
Yeah, I think Juju is, the big name for me, the quarterback from Carrollton, Georgia. He got actually Alabama on Thursday. He's going to be here for a couple of days. Alabama practicing today. We're recording this on Friday around lunchtime. The team's going to practice at 3:25 today. It will be the last practice before they break for spring break. That's very significant. So practice number 3 will start off a 8-day break for the Crimson Tide, if not 9 days actually, because they won't be back until a week from Monday. Actually, off the top of my head, it's a week from Tuesday when they'll actually practice again. But they are having several prospects in. I think what's happening, Luke, in terms of the number of prospects, not only is it Alabama's spring break, it's spring break for a number of high schools. So a lot of kids are getting out of school today, and that's why there's a bunch of visitors today, because they're out of school too, starting today, or might be leaving a little bit early to go catch an Alabama football practice. There's one thing to look for, though, and we've had some great interviews on BOL with some of these guys, even 5-star Caleb Cunningham, who was a practice Wednesday. The quality of visitor has not changed. For people looking for, hey, there's going to be a recruiting drop-off from Saban to DeBoer. There's going to be a recruiting drop. No one's going to recruit like Nick Saban did, because no one ever has anywhere at any point in history. So, of course, Kalen DeBoer is not going to recruit as well as Nick. Show me the person who has or will. But the quality of the kid visiting so far, I would say, matches the quality of kids visiting under Saban. The interest from the big name kids is still there.
And that's crucial. I mean, you got to keep getting the kids on campus. And look, even Nick Saban didn't get them all. So, there's some of these are probably pipe dreams, but you get them on campus and just keep them talking. You just get your name out in front of everybody. But there's a fantastic list. You guys at On3 are on top of it. Luke Metz. Now, he's a 3-star, but he's a tight end that has
he's a riser. He's a riser.
Yeah. And he looks like a dude who's going to be pretty highly recruited.
Committed to Auburn, right? He's committed to Auburn. We had 2 kids committed to Auburn visiting Wednesday. He's one of them. Or is he committed today?
I don't think Luke Metz is committed to Auburn. Wait a minute.
I might be getting him mixed up with the tight end. There was a tight end. Yeah, Luke Metz is a linebacker, right? I'm still Luke getting Metz, these 25 guys.
Yeah, I'm still getting
these 20. I'm getting him mixed up with the tight end from the Atlanta area that's committed to Auburn that was here Wednesday.
That's right. And then there's Dasan Brame or Brom?
Brom.
B-R-A-M-E. Brom, okay. Interesting way to say it, but he's a kid from Kansas. Kansas actually, surprisingly, has some really good prospects. They have that offensive lineman, Babalola,
Andrew.
Yeah, who is a really, really good player. Like ESPN, I think, has him in the top 5 or something like that. Then there's the wide receiver, Nishan Montgomery from Miami. Look, color me partial to anybody who is a wide receiver from Miami. I'll take them. I don't care. I don't have to see them.
Miami's a nice spot for receivers and DBs. Receivers and DBs in Miami.
Yeah. Anquan Fagans will be there. At one time committed to USC.
Did you see the RPM to Auburn the other day from the Auburn On3 guys? So Auburn on 3 guys RPM'd him to Auburn. And hey, it could happen. I'm not sitting here saying it won't.
Yeah.
Could. I think Alabama's got a real shot there, though. I'd watch for Georgia too. Georgia's a player there.
Alabama's involved too. I think that's a long way from over. Zion Grady will be back in town. It'd be good to get him back.
Very excited about that. Love Zion Grady. And I'm glad that he's given Alabama a chance again. Committed to Alabama under Saban, decommitted. Hey, look, the defensive guys are going to have questions, right? Defensive guys before are like, I want to go play for Alabama's Nick Saban. The greatest defensive mind of all time is going to be my head coach. It's a big change. Now there's an offensive guy that's running the program. So it's fair for defensive guys to be a little bit more, hey, I'm going to put the brakes on about Alabama until I know more about what's going to happen on that side of the ball. So I get it, but Zion is going to give Alabama a chance here, and I'd watch for Georgia with him though too.
I noticed, and I don't know if it was on 3. I think it was 24/7. Boy, he took a pretty significant drop in their rankings.
That's surprising.
And Fagans did too, actually.
I don't know of any particular reason other than, you say drop, and I get that. That's the only way to put it. But keep in mind that evaluations at this point are sort of more just beginning. So I would say the rankings before the most recent update were sort of a rough draft. In other words, the way I look at rankings isn't kids are falling up and down. The ranker is just becoming more and more accurate about where kids should have been the whole time. This is where they should have been the whole time, not that this kid's getting worse or this kid's getting better. It's that, they should have been here, whether that's high or low, the whole time.
And they finally start coming to camps and start getting the focus of these camps, where if you're, if you're Ryan Williams, the moment you go to camps, people are looking at you. But if you're a typical, 10th grader, junior, whatever, they may not be looking at you quite as hard as they're looking at some of the other seniors. But then when you come as a senior, they're looking at you harder. It's, you can't evaluate everybody thoroughly this early. And so I think that when you have these rankings come out early, that is just to meet the demand. People got to understand that is just putting some stuff out there because people demand, hey, tell me. And then they have a come apart when somebody either falls precipitously or they jump for joy when they say, oh my God, look how much this guy has risen. It's like you said, it's where they should have been.
People would understand the process better if they paralleled it to the NFL draft. Because I think as football fans, we all know the NFL draft process pretty well because it's so ingrained. And is anyone demanding Mel Kiper today tell us what's going to happen in the April 2025 draft? Mel, forget this draft. We don't need to know this draft. What's going to happen in the April 2025 draft? Does anyone expect him to be really accurate? Today so that's what you're asking of the recruiting industry. It's literally what's being asked of the recruiting industry is you always want it to be a cycle ahead. And there's just too many kids. It's a vast enterprise. So just be patient and realize that each updated ranking is getting it more accurate. It's not really kids rising and falling, though that does happen. That does happen too. Kids do get better or maybe don't progress as anticipated. That is a factor too. But generally, I just look at it as increasing accuracy with each update.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to look at it. It's like when people call me and they want to order a fountain. They say, I want to order a fountain. Okay, what's the price range? Well, somewhere between $2,500 and $2 million. Okay. Yeah. Now, when they tell me it's 7 feet tall, okay, then I can narrow it down. When they tell me they want to buy, you start.
Yeah.
Look, got to be the first person ever to make recruiting analogous to fountain buying. But
you just did that. You made history right here on Locked On Bama.
All right. Well, I'm going to make some more history with this live read. That's probably a little cocky of me to say I'm going to make history with this live read, but I'm going to try because, it's all about
That's pretty good.
Amazon Fire TV. I love me some Amazon Fire TV, and you will too. I do have it. I've had a Fire Stick for a long time. I really have. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights, in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have Fire TV. My son in Phoenix at Arizona State uses it. I use it. The Fire TV channels let you drive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more. Keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking, videos, all that stuff. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. That's amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. So we had a request from a friend of the program. And
please tell me they didn't ask us to sing. We don't have to sing, do we?
Said, I'd like to see Jimmy shirtless. I don't. So this is from our buddy Pigskin Petey. And it actually comes from a tweet that somebody else was talking about in terms of Will Reichard now leaving. And Pigskin says that regards to the question about the kicking potential problem. He said, this is understandable concern to the fans that don't realize Saban recruited the elite kicker to replace Reichard 2 years ago, but Connor Talty is the next man up. And I tend to agree. You and I are Connor Talty fans. He did something last year that he had a big tackle, I think, against Mississippi State, didn't he? Wasn't it the Mississippi State game where he had a big tackle? Might have been.
Yeah, he made a tackle, and it reminded everybody, this is a pretty thick kid. He's not the thicker kicker guy from Missouri. He's not anything like that size. But Connor Talty is sort of a physical kid for a kicker, and he showed it on that tackle. Certainly wasn't shy. All I really have is the word. When I was able to attend practice this week with BOL, we were outside watching practice, and the specialists were indoors kicking. So we didn't get to see any kicking. They were indoors. But from what I hear, they're pretty high on Connor Talty. I think if there was major concern, I mean, they've seen him kick for a year. And when I say they, I mean Alabama and the old staff. And by the way, the old staff consulted with the new staff about things. I think if the old staff felt that Connor Talty showed up and wasn't as good as they worried, that there might have been, hey, you better go get another kicker. And these days with the transfer portal, that's really easy. There's a ton of kickers in the portal all the time, not necessarily the elite, but there's always kickers in the portal. I think just the very fact they weren't portal shopping in the fall, the winter portal, is a good sign. And all we hear from inside is that Connor Talty's pretty good. Now, let's be realistic, people. Just like I was talking about Saban's recruiting earlier, no one ever in history recruited as well as Nick Saban, and it's absurd to hold Kalen DeBoer to the Saban standard about recruiting. He does need to recruit as well as you need to recruit at Alabama to be successful at Alabama, but the Saban standard is a little much. I would say the same thing about Connor Talty replacing Will Reichard. How about this? Let's compare Connor Talty's freshman season that we got coming up with Will Reichard's freshman season. I mean, that's fair-ish, but let's not compare freshman Connor Talty to super senior Will Reichard. That's entirely unfair.
To all-time leading NCAA scoring guy, Will Reichard.
Yeah, exactly. It's so let's be fair to Connor Talty and allow him to be a freshman. Wouldn't that be a great gift from the fans to Connor? Guess what? We're going to let you have a freshman season, which, and since he's a talented kid, this is what that means, Luke. To me, that means he's going to do something this year that makes us go, wow, what a gifted kid. He is good. And then he's going to do something that makes us go, woof, woof. freshman
He's
kickers.
going to have a shankopotamus moment. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, it's coming, right? I mean, it's coming. Prepare yourself now. This is why you don't melt down later. You prepare for it now. You're like, there's going to be freshman moments, and that's just every kid is entitled to those. So that's what we're going to get with Connor Talty. But the good news is, I think we are going to get the occasional, whoa, that's pretty good. 53 yards. Yowza.
Nothing would be better for Connor Talty and for my own personal mental state than for Connor Talty to kick a game-winning field goal against Georgia. I don't want him to do it against Wisconsin. I mean, if we need it, I want him to do it. What I'm saying is I hope we don't need it against Wisconsin, because I think doing it, if we have to kick a game winner against Wisconsin, I think everybody's going to be in panic mode. That's honestly heading into Georgia. So I want him to do it against Georgia just to continue our dominance of Georgia, which it is. If any Locked On Georgia people are listening, I'm sorry. You've beaten us one time when some of our best players got hurt in the game. So, yeah. But
I thought of one more analogy with Connor, though, a comparison. Because the comparison – I do have a fountain question, but I'll say that for a second. But Connor, this is the first freshman kicker we've had since Will Reichard was a freshman kicker. Okay, but going back before that, Lee Tiffin in 2009 when he was a senior, he was a first-team All-American. I'm brain farting right now. I can't remember whether – I don't believe Reichard was a first-team All-American. I don't think so. I'll have to look that up.
Will Reichard ever? No.
Yeah, was he a first-team All-American?
He didn't make first-team All-American. He didn't win the Lou Groza. They gave it to somebody who kicks for
Stanford.
Miami and Pennsylvania for some reason.
Yeah, they did a MAC kicker, but I think the Stanford kicker is good too. But my point is, okay, Lee Tiffin was a first-team All-American in 2009 when he was a senior. But I think because we're old and remember this stuff, when Lee Tiffin was a freshman, he was also the starting kicker. He missed some kicks that helped us lose the Arkansas game. He helped lose the Arkansas game with makeable kicks that he missed.
He lost it.
Yeah, so that's my point entirely. That's why Connor Talty is going to probably have those moments. Lee Tiffin did and went on to become an All-American. So I think Connor Talty could have that type of career, right? But this is going to be the freshman season. The current punter, James Burnham, may be the best punter in the country. He punted here as a freshman. It wasn't good. It wasn't great. In fact, it was pretty bad, to be honest. Now, back to the fountains. What is the most expensive fountain y'all have ever made or sold in the history of the company?
I think somebody's calling me about it now.
I hope so. I hope I just kickstarted the biggest fountain deal you've ever had. But what is the most expensive fountain? Can you say?
It's difficult to say.
Give us a ballpark.
It's not. I'd say the most expensive was probably like 1.1 or 1 million, maybe. And this was a fountain. If anybody's interested, if you look up Berkshire Park, Berczzy Park in Toronto. It's a dog fountain. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. I know it's Locked On Bama. Y'all bear with me. It's Friday afternoon. It's a pretty cool story. So we did this huge fountain in Berkshire Park. Look it up. And it's for a dog park. It's like a dog fountain. It was done by a famous architect who's now recently deceased, Claude Cormier, super nice guy. And it's a dog fountain. It has, I think, 27 different varieties of dogs that we had. They sent us these dog toys that came from Germany that they wanted us to match. We had to scan them and blow them up and match them. And then there's a gold dog bone at the top of the fountain. It's just a huge bowl and then a small bowl and then a dog bone. All the dogs are outside the fountain looking up at the bone, and they're shooting water back into the fountain as if they're salivating. And somebody had a bit of a fit when all this, started coming out that we're going to do. They said, well, I got a cat. What am I supposed to do? So they made us make one cat for it. So I'll put a picture of here in a second.
Hey, that cat lobby will scare you to death. You don't need to upset the cat lobby.
Cat people.
Headed by Taylor Swift and Hunter Johnson.
Dog people are generally a little more laid back than cat people. Cat people can be a little uptight. But all right, Jimmy, I got to tell everybody about LinkedIn. About ran a little late on there on my fountain talk, locked on fountains. But when you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Wow. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege, all one word. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, they're going to apply. So we probably won't talk. I think baseball plays Lipscomb this weekend.
Yes, rained out today. Well, it probably rained out. They moved the time to 11 a.m. to try to get it in, and it was already pouring by like 9:30. So today, no baseball for sure. They'll play Lipscomb for 3 over the weekend. Softball plays Florida Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Sunday, Monday's games will be on SEC Network. Big series hosting Florida Gators. And, of course, we're about to talk some men's basketball here. Women's hoops, by the way, 1:30 today. I'm excited to watch the women in the SEC tournament playing Tennessee today, Friday.
Interesting. And, we beat Tennessee pretty good earlier this year, didn't we?
I believe so. Yeah, we should be favored to beat Tennessee today. How about the women's basketball playing in the SEC, getting the double bye in the SEC tournament? I mean, a good year from Christy Curry's bunch. Took a while to build it, probably because she inherited, for those who are like, oh, I thought the basketball team wasn't any good. It wasn't. She inherited easily the worst program in the SEC. Dead bottom, 14 teams, dead last. That's what she inherited. So, yeah, it took a while. But now here we are, 3 NCAA tournament years in a row, and this year getting a double bye in the SEC tournament.
It's a big deal.
Really good coaching job, good recruiting, and as Luke's pointed out, doing his work with the AHSAA, more talent on the way.
Ace Austin from Spring Garden, who's only a junior, and Leah Brooks coming in from Hazel Green. So that'll be big. By the way, really quickly, here's the fountain. It's not I wish I could expand it, but you can't really see the bone at the top. But maybe it doesn't do it justice on the side, but on the sides. But you can see on the rim of the bowls there are little pug faces that we made, and you can, if you were able to zoom in, you'd be able to see that they're little studded stainless steel dog collar-esque things that you'd see on like a dog collar, just all the spikes. So it's very dog themed, but it's a big puppy.
That was something else. Did you go up there to put it in?
I didn't go up there. I've been up there and taken pictures of it, and it just helped us get some other fountain gigs. But I didn't go put it in, but I assisted with the stuff here. So
awesome.
Anyway, now
that is awesome.
Basketball. Mm-hmm. So we got Arkansas this weekend. Now look, I've told everybody about this website because it's kind of cool. All right, so it's bball.notnothing.net. Now, what you can do at this, Alabama has to beat Arkansas. If they beat Arkansas, I feel really good about us getting that 2 seed. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard not to get a 2 seed, I think.
If they beat Arkansas. Now, and Paul Feinbaum has already come out and said there's no chance Alabama's beating Arkansas. But really, he said that?
He said, well, I don't know if he said no chance. He said, I think Arkansas wins and Alabama's done. Meaning done for the year, like mailed it in. Kind of.
It could be right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, I
don't think it's
sports. True. I think Alabama's going to beat Arkansas.
I do too. And now it is an 11 o'clock game, but here's where I think the marketing side, brilliant. Lots of guys, including Ryan Williams, will be there to sign autographs at 10 o'clock. That'll get some fans I'm hoping to go with my daughter. So, but let's assume Alabama beats Arkansas, and let's assume Auburn beats Georgia, which they're going to pummel Georgia. I'm also going to assume LSU beats Missouri because everybody's beaten Missouri this year, and that I'm going to assume this may be erroneous, and I don't know if it matters. I'm going to assume Texas A&M beats Ole Miss because Ole Miss is floundering. Texas A&M resurgent a little bit. I'm also going to assume South Carolina beats Mississippi State, but that could go either way. That will have an effect potentially. And the other thing that's kind of key is Kentucky and Tennessee. I think it's better for Alabama if Tennessee beats Kentucky.
Agreed.
But see, Tennessee's already clinched.
Yeah.
And while I think it's important for them to win, they probably
it's like a bigger game for Kentucky.
Yeah, they're going for that number 1 seed, so I think it's important. But let's assume Tennessee does win that game. Then here's your seeding: Tennessee, South Carolina, the 4. Tennessee's the 1, South Carolina the 4 on the upper side of the bracket. Bama, the 2, will play the winner of Ole Miss A&M, and Auburn will be the 3. They'll probably end up playing Florida. Look, it's so funny. Yesterday I listened to an Auburn sports show, and they were like, I really kind of want to avoid Alabama. And it's not because I think they're scared. They want to avoid Alabama the same reason I want to avoid Auburn. I just don't want to play them anymore. I want to quit playing.
It's exhausting. It makes it bigger. It's already big. It's already big. It's big regardless of who you're playing. It's the semifinals of the SEC tournament. So it's big. But then you throw in Alabama, Auburn. It's just crazy big. It's like playing Auburn in the SEC.
When we do this SEC championship in football,
we could end up playing Auburn.
You could play the Iron Bowl and play them again the next week in Atlanta. Nobody.
That'll be Armageddon if that happens. It'd be Armageddon.
I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't know that I want it either. Hey, by the way, if it ends up that way, what time would Alabama play on Friday? Do you know?
Oh, I can tell you that quickly. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So you play Friday against the Ole Miss A&M winner?
Yes, it'd be at 7 p.m. Now, I believe these times may be Eastern.
Yeah, those are
Eastern. Okay, so it's 6 p.m.
6 o'clock.
And then Auburn would play at 8:30. And then the next game would be at 2:30 on ESPN. Now, you can say, maybe it wouldn't matter that Alabama would have that little bit extra rest, but I think it could, because if you play, first of all, we know it's not going to tip off at 8:30. These games never tip off on time.
No, it'll tip off like at 10 and there'll be a tornado and stuff.
God, I forgot about that. That was something, man. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We both think Alabama beats Arkansas, by the way. So,
I think Alabama's going to beat Arkansas, but I agree. I'm nervous about it because, again, I'm a little bit of a show me guy. I think that what's happened to Alabama is a product of the schedule and not a product of the way Alabama's collapsed. I think it's just the schedule. And the schedule says Arkansas is a very beatable team at home. And I think Alabama's going to win and play pretty well.
All right. We will talk to you guys maybe after the Arkansas game. Who knows? But definitely by Sunday. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.